Good morning. It's nice to be seen by all of you, and I do look forward to the day when I can see you in person for these times. I said at the beginning of the service my name, which is Brian. My title is pastor. I don't worry too much what you call me. When I was growing up, I was one of 6 kids in the house. I have an older sister, an older brother, 2 younger brothers, and a younger sister. And my mom and dad named us in such a way that we would not have an easy way to shorten our names or to give us nicknames. They did okay with the first 4 of us. My one younger brother was named James, so he was always known as Jimmy. And they did that intentionally because I came from not only a big family with my brothers and sisters, but my dad had 5 brothers and sisters, and my grandpa had 6 brothers, and it was just a huge family all the way through, which meant that there were a lot of repeats on names. So I had a great aunt. She was my grandma's sister, whose name was Hazel. But my grandma and grandpa named their oldest daughter in her honor, and so she was known as Hazel Florence. Then my great uncle, who was married to my great aunt, was named William, and he was called Bill, but I had an uncle who was named for him who was called Willie, and my grandpa had a brother named William who was called Fred, which made no sense whatsoever. So there arose the pattern in my family of calling people by their initials. So my sister was KL, my older brother was MD, and when it came to me, I was called BP because my middle name is Paul, so I'm Brian Paul. Apparently, the story goes that my grandpa used to call me BP. And one time, he called me Brian, and I looked at him and said, "No, my name is BP." But I said it so fast that it came out as Beep. And so from then on, for my grandpa, I was known as Beeps. That's the only thing of a nickname I ever had, which was fine with me. And when my grandpa died, I think that there is only one person alive who's ever called me Beeps. And that's my older sister, who just does it to annoy me if I'm in public. And nicknames are kind of funny things. Think a minute, do you have any nicknames that you call someone? Sometimes they're okay. Sometimes those kind of names can be challenging. We've got a guy in the gospel reading that I just gave to you a little bit ago, whose name is Thomas. Now, before the story we heard today, in the Bible, he's referred to as Thomas the twin, which of course tells us that he had a brother or a sister who was born on the same day as he was. We're not told which, but he's known as Thomas the twin. After this account that we hear, most of the time in church history, he's called Doubting Thomas, as though that adjective tells us everything about the person. And yet we know that those kind of names don't tell us everything there is to know about the person, that there's so much more to who that person is or was. And I want you to listen when I preach in just a moment, because that's what I'm going to be talking about, is whether or not Thomas should just be known as Doubting Thomas, or whether that's actually a pretty good thing. So in the meantime, what I want you to remember is that in addition to the name that your parents gave you, you also have a separate name. It's not a nickname, but it's more to your core of who you are. And that is that each one of you are a child of God, whether you've got a nickname or just a given name. I look forward to seeing you again. So long.